Social media kills families. This is a difficult conversation we absolutely need to have. My squads, all of our marriages got wiped by social media. If we didn't have social media, it would definitely be a different situation. I'm not saying everything was perfect before it all happened, but one thing that we find when we deal with addiction is that what you need to do is you need to remove yourself from situations where you could get into trouble. This means don't, if you're addicted to gambling, you don't go to a casino. If you're addicted to prawns, you don't go to adult websites. If you're having issues with your relationship, you don't go to work parties. I can't tell you how many relationships have broken down because of work parties and people thinking that happiness is the default in relationships. In sickness and in health means nothing these days. My relationship's deterioration began when my wife started looking for sympathy and answers on Reddit. Answers about, is it okay for me to be upset with my husband about dishes? One post started it. And I'm going to pull up that post. I'm going to find all of it for you because man, like the more I think about it, the more it racks my mind how it went from zero to oh man, I got skinned alive. I seen this video of a creature getting skinned alive, and I feel like it looked. I'm not going to get into details, but man, when we're young, we get some messed up stuff. But that one always stuck with me. And I can't tell you how it made me feel just like that. All of my stuff getting put out online. Just not even the sexy stuff, but oh man, geez, this hurts. But this is legitimate. This is true. I'll pull it up sometime. But it was just about the way I did dishes. She wanted me to do all the dishes her way. She wanted, this actually kind of hurts a little bit. She wanted all the dishes to be done her way. So every now and then there wouldn't be enough dishes and the dishes would be half done. And I would just be like, hey, I'm the one that makes all the money. So I'll just like, the dishwasher's half full and we got most of the stuff we need. I need a bunch of plates. I'm just going to put some dirty dishes in with the clean dishes. Clean it up and blam, there we go. Why would you be angry at this? This is someone who is not clean. Is not clean. So I could understand it if it was someone who was very into order and all of these things, but she didn't even. She was so dirty she never even started using toilet paper until she was 13. She just pooped outside. Just to give you an idea. She had so many fleas all over when I first met her. Yeah, I'm going to say these things. You guys should be like, oh, yeah, you should know. Yeah, I know that. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about how someone with this much disorder would care about something like that. Also, I would put knives facing down. I put all silverware facing down. I didn't put things the way she wanted to. When I did dishes, I was supposed to do the whole counter, everything in the sink. Sorry, I had to do all the pots and pans. I had to do everything on the oven. I had to do all of this stuff. Now, the thing is, she was a stay-at-home mom. And every now and then, I just want to make something up. And if I didn't have a plate, okay, I'll clean these plates that need to get done. But then she'd be furious with me because I didn't do all the rest of it. This is what she got on Reddit for. That was the thing. In the end of it, they told her how abusive I was. I don't even remember how they managed to get abuse from that. I don't even know. I can't even remember. And I was like, what the hell did I do? What did I do? And I'm looking. And I'm not. Okay, I think she might have said that I was financially abusive. I didn't have any access to her bank account. She had all access to my bank accounts. The only reason I was financially abusive is if she wanted to make big purchases, she had to ask. She had to ask. And that meant that we were even, right? No. So on Reddit, they told her that, oh man, it It devolved so quickly. I just want to point out how quickly it devolved. Everyone all white knight, like I'd never seen before. She didn't even mention she was a stay-at-home wife. And even after that, people didn't care. Anyone jumping in to try to help were torn down instantly. So, like, I know how people say social media can't do these things. Problems existed before, and to all of them, I'd like to say, I think you should eat a fat one, because you don't know what the ferg you're talking about. I can't tell you how quickly, like, she said, my biological clock was ticking, and he was the best I could do. She's right. I am the best she could do. She will never have another guy as good as me. And if you feel like taking her back in this discussion, I want you to stop for a moment. If you feel like you're agreeing with her and not me, stop. You have no idea what the fuck she looks like. You don't know what she does. You don't know my issues with her, and in that is the problem. Now, she deleted her stuff, but of course you can never fully delete anything. And I took video every day of the kitchen she kept. Now, it's not just that she wasn't doing dishes. It wasn't that she wasn't doing dishes. It was that she wouldn't let me do dishes. And it wasn't that she wouldn't clean. It was that she wouldn't let me clean. I have video. I as time goes on, I might be putting this stuff out, but like I'm like 2 years after the divorce. I'm kind of still struck with what happened, but she yelled at me for cleaning. I just wanted to have a way to get through. I wanted toys to get picked up. She told people I was abusive because I was too clean. They didn't see what we were living in. So by facilitating what she was saying was facilitating a hell. Now hold the frick up. Now I hope, now I needed to, if I was a simp, the way the internet wants me to be, my child would be dead right now. And you need to find out why. You need to hear why my daughter would be dead if I wasn't a bit of a prick. Because this is a reality that exists that's going to kill our kids legitimately. We gave birth to our first. And we wanted out. We didn't want to be there. Jen didn't like the nurses. I didn't blame her. He didn't get along. My ex doesn't really get along with people she has to work with. If she's communicating with them and telling stories, she's fine. But if she has to work with them, things are a little bit different. Anyway, she wanted to get out of there. We got out of there in day 3. Her boobs were... She wasn't giving breast milk. And it wasn't her fault. I mean... She wasn't giving breast. She thought she was. She thought she was giving. Sorry, it doesn't get easier. And then I feel like a bad parent. Because I was. Because I should have been there more. But I thought if I let her do her thing, everything would be fine. She wasn't giving breast milk. Everyone thought she was. The kid wasn't latching because she wasn't getting milk. And if he doesn't get milk, then stop. She's hurt now. She has brain damage. She's perfect, but she has brain damage. And she's deaf, and we don't know why. If I was the fucking simp Reddit wanted to be, my daughter would be dead right now. Because I wouldn't have checked my ex. I knew that something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. Sometimes you just know when things are wrong. And I had to check her, and she thought everything was fine. And it wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault. She just had this thing in her head that said, if you're a good mom, you're giving breast milk. And we know you're a good mom. And I saw that because there was things I should have heavy wet diapers, this many. And I knew they weren't there, and I knew she was saying, but I was just trusting her. But oh, I'm screaming on the inside. I was supposed to have X many heavy wet diapers. We didn't have heavy wet diapers. We had bloody diapers, longer than we were supposed to. We knew. She just didn't want to go back. She just didn't want to go back. She didn't want to go back. And my daughter has brain damage and she's deaf now because I had to bother her. I floored it on the way to the hospital. She was concerned. I was going damn near 170. I knew something was wrong. Something in my gut told me something was wrong. And because of that, if there's ever a protester stopping a road to a hospital and I have a kid in the back and it's emergency, I'm going through. Okay? What's more important? Your goddamn protests or the kid in the back? You've made your decision. She gets hers. I'm sorry, that didn't happen. But I get to the hospital and we get there. The first thing I tell the doctor is, there's something going on here. There's something wrong here. She thinks she's given breast milk. Actually, I was very professional. I said, my wife thinks she's giving breast milk, but I disagree. Everything went to hell shortly after that. The kid had a blood sugar level of 0. If I would have went with what Reddit wanted me to, with what the social justice wanted me to, with what TikTokers would have had me do, my kids would be dead. So within that love of females that we have, we also need to understand that there are some messed up ones that are maybe messed up not because of their own fault, because of something else, maybe because of trauma, mental health. We have all of these excuses and reasons for why these things happen, but we have too many reasons to put women on pedestals while we cull the males. The male chicks get culled because they're annoying and they're loud. The female ones are the ones with the reproductive parts. The ones that give eggs. Those are the cash cows, right? When we got to the emerge and it became apparent what happened, my wife was selling me out. I didn't have anyone to help me. And she said that I wasn't there to help. I was out doing taxes and stuff because I thought she had this and I needed to do something. I was like, oh, I gotta do something. Hey, I'll go and do this stuff. The last day was happening, I was out getting kale with a friend of mine, getting happy kale for her. And everything went to hell really quick, and then all of a sudden we were at McMaster's. McMaster's didn't even have a place for us. We were in an emergency room. I had this kid in an emergency room. And then it happened again. I'm sorry. I'm furious now. No, I'm in my place. This is my truth. You guys need to hear this shit because I really feel like this is some reality shit. Like, that people act like it doesn't happen. Okay, so we were there for so long. And I was with my baby for so long. And then, oh God, it happened again. So things would go on and we would, shit. It was about 2 years later. Sorry, no, I feel like I have to say this. It was about 2 years later. Guys, you gotta feed your kids right. It's okay to check your wife and what they feed them. Oh, I'm so mad about this. I feel like everyone was giving me a hard time about checking Jen and checking the food. Everyone was giving me a hard time. I have a recording of her saying it's not her responsibility to make sure the kids eat. She got to a point where she was just making food for herself and the kids didn't eat, they didn't eat. And then she left a snack drawer for the kids. Snack drawer. Everything in there was coated something chocolate. Nobody. I couldn't get anyone to help me. I couldn't get anybody to help me, give me the right information about what we needed. And she was telling people that I was abusing her. That I was abusing her by being worried about our kids, the food they were eating, that I was worried they grow up to be fat like I was. Well, I was obscenely fat when I was a kid. I don't want that. But the way that the Me Too movement had just made everything, everyone was just, she was talking to everyone, and they were all just taking her side, facilitating this horrible position. But within this, my daughter has a second sugar crash. I can't talk about it. Oh shit! She wakes up and she's not there. I wake her up and she's just not there, and she's like, it's like her soul is fighting. It was like her soul was fighting for air just to get to the top, and every now and then there'd be sparks, and I can see her face, and she was there. I took her downstairs to get mommy hugs, because they'll fix everything, right? But she was... Too much fucking sugar. Too much sugar. Not being fed enough of the good stuff. Too much sugar. Sent the kids to the hospital the second time. And I couldn't say a fucking thing. The internet's stacked against men these days. Social justice warriors. I mean, and then we get into women and how they are women. Man, listen to Nietzsche's. Listen to Nietzsche's about how women are. He doesn't hate women, but they have their own survival things. They have their own survival things. And as Margaret Atwood said, that women have to worry about men killing them. That's the worst. And the worst men have to worry about women is women laughing at them. You can laugh at a man so hard you can kill him. And you'll walk undead. There are absolutely people like this that will just walk undead. And if you keep laughing at him, he will turn into a monster. There will not be a soul within him. There will be a monster. And what I am concerned about is not incels. Because shit, as soon as you disagree with a woman online, you're an incel these days. But what I'm worried about is we're getting to a point where people like me aren't able to protect our children because everyone is too interested in protecting the woman. Now, the problem we get into here is this is a tribe mentality. If there are multiple tribes around here and one woman's feeling a thing to leave a tribe, then the men in the other tribe are going to believe whatever the heck she says. This is a tribal thing. This is a survival thing, and we're letting people away with too much bullshit. We're letting people away with too much bullshit. I was listening to a woman recently that was complaining that the husband she was with was abusive, but if you got the information out of it, ultimately you found out she was only with him so that she could facilitate a reasonable life with children from previous relationships. In order to, that's the only reason she had this relationship. She was staying with this man because she wanted a good place for the kids. But in all of that story, she was saying this man is the bad thing. What she's not talking about this is she's being the hanged man card. She can get out of there. She can, but she wants to be doing this thing. She made a deal with the freaking devil. But at the end of the day, that story is going to look like he was oppressive and she was... And since she was oppressed, that everything was fine. But what nobody sees is this is two people trying to survive. He has needs, she has needs. And as soon as the last kid moves out, she breaks up. And she gets a great story about surviving everything. Yeah, you know what? You want to survive that? You put yourself in that position, honey, because he had nothing to do with that kid. I bet that kid gave him a little bit of a hard time. But we don't want to think about that. We're all one reason voters. And we can't bring three things into it. So my squad with Red got wiped by Reddit. Rainbow got wiped by Snapchat. Brown got wiped by TikTok. The only guy that Lord Warwraith was the only one who managed to get out of it. I'm starting to think that love is art. That if you want a good relationship, it's like finding a beautiful piece of art. And man, as someone who appreciates art, I'm going to tell you that something that one person is going to love, someone else isn't. That's called a purview of your conundrum. What is beauty? What is a relationship? My ex keeps saying she broke up with me because she realized we didn't have a normal relationship. And to that I would say, you thought that you were going to get a normal relationship? What is normal? What's normal to the spider is chaos to the fly. And I really strongly feel like we've all become idealists that have been imposed with the idea that if you have power, you are bad, and if you don't, you are good. But in this is the final conundrum. We have to call chicks out on their shit. We can't because of the way we are. Perhaps this next step with social media is going to be our next step towards overall evolution into truth about who we are as a species and not just the masks. I get so damn sick of masks. You're supposed to wear a mask when you go to job interview. You're supposed to wear a mask when you're dating. You're supposed to wear a mask when I'm just so sick of masks, guys, especially when it comes to kids. Let's just have kids and a family and support the family and not just tear it down. TikTok during COVID was a very different thing for everyone. Everyone says TikTok's different for everyone. TikTok was different before the elections. TikTok was different after the elections. The TikTok that took my relationship existed. I seen it. And I still remember the men as I'm swiping at the time. Narcissism, and the men talking about how your relationship could be better if your husband was better. My wife was a stay-at-home wife. I have video of her not doing anything and being bad, and like everyone being like, Nevin, this is your fault. This is you. This is all on you. She used the whole system against me. And at the very end of it, and all the women that I talk to about all this stuff, I ultimately get to, okay, if that's the way you want it to be, then suicide booths for men. All these people that hate men, you think white men are bad? Let's get those individuals to put money together and get suicide booths for these men that are, they colonization, all these things. Because it really seems like they want men to not succeed so much, they just want them gone. So in that, let's give them responsibility, the burden of the responsibility for the harshness they're putting on men. And yeah, hey, we're doing MAID in Canada. MAID is medically assisted suicide. It's either 1 in 20 or 1 in 6. Those are both disturbing numbers. The people who are dying in Canada are going through MAID. That is freaking remarkable. Okay, so hey, we don't like our old people or disabled people enough to give them housing. We'll give them a way to MAID. Let's do it for all these horrible men that don't know that they're supposed to be doing dishes the way their wife does dishes. And if they don't, well, I want to start winding this video down with some realities that we have had to live through and some realities that are actually very real for this time. During the time of the breakup, in 2023, a man could never say, you are being too sensitive. In 2023, if a man tells a woman they're being too sensitive, they are a narcissist. Like that. That's the way the mentality goes. I'm not overthinking this. I'm telling you flat out, this information seems to have jumped from the internet onto main mental continuity with social workers and therapists, who are people who I do communicate with, female ones that I date particularly. Now, within these groups of social workers that I date, I'm also noticing that it seems like the men that they hang out with aren't giving them objective realities and aren't checking them on their bullshit because they just want the sexy time. And I have a little bit of an issue with that because at a certain point, so men will sell men out, and men will lie. Men will do anything for sex. Men will do anything for sex. They will warp reality and warp the way a woman thinks and do a lot of crazy things. And women will really manipulate men. And they don't want to admit this. They do not want to admit how much responsibility women have in the situation by kiting men with sex. In 2022, it was okay for a woman to hit a man. I'm not talking slap, I'm talking straight up fist bumping. If you have a disagreement about, or a memory, I was accused of gaslighting about a situation where I had a disagreement on time continuity. It's possible I was wrong, but by remembering differently, I wasn't gaslighting. I was simply incorrect. But within this time, everyone is so exploded with ideas of what everyone's talking about narcissism these days. Everyone's acting like they understand because of social media. Everyone's acting like they understand mental health. And that's really upsetting to the real mental health professionals who know who know what's going on, basically. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough of a rant for today. Thanks for listening to me. Appreciate it. And have a good one, folks. Take care of each other.